All right, welcome everybody. Sorry we a little bit late, but we black, so it's fine. Welcome to another episode of 2020Vision podcast. I am your host, the diva extraordinaire, comedian Visionary Speaks, and today we are talking to some awesome comics about what we think the future of comedy is post quarantine. Because praise God, we're not going to be here forever. We can only hope. But we're going to have a dynamic conversation with 4 comics, including myself, which would be 5. And we're just going to have a great conversation on what we think the future is and where we're going. And the new generation and the older generation, how we get forward with after all of this is over. So let's get everybody out here. Introductions are in way. Let's bring Buck to the stage. Hi.
Hello, Miss D, the diva Visionary Speaks.
You know,
how are you doing?
I'm doing stunning, darling. How are you?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic.
That is amazing, and so is that pillow.
It's very comfortable. Very comfortable.
Yes, for sure. Well, thank you for coming to the podcast. Can you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Well, yes. Hi, everybody. My name is Buck. My IG is Bucks Comedy. Bucks_comedy. You can see it down there. I've been in and out of the industry aside from my day activity for probably about 17 years. I did a little radio. I did some professional makeup stuff for theatrical things or whatever. And then it just led into my background growing up was forensics, theater, debate and stuff like that. And then I started doing comedy. I got my first start and my first big time stage in 2001. I performed at Zany Chicago. And then from there, it's kind of been a roller coaster. So I had the pleasure of, I do work I'm in the military, and I've had the pleasure of having the largest military MWR morale and welfare show in Yokosuka, Japan, Funny Fridays, once a month in Japan for 6 years. I had a crowd of about 240 people once a month, every Friday.
Jeez.
It was really cool. And I performed in Western style comedy in and out of Japan, California, did a tour in China with the Shanghai Underground and the Shanghai Comedy Group. Did some stuff in Hong Kong, and it's just been in Thailand. It's been absolutely amazing. Yep. And now I'm back in the States. So it's very, very interesting. So that is a little bit about me.
That's amazing. Thank you for your service. It's always good to see, servicemen and just be able to know. Do you know Japanese? Do you know Japanese?
Nihongo skoshi onegashimasu. That means I speak a little bit of Japanese.
Okay. That's how I feel about Spanish, even though I've been in Spanish and learning Spanish for over 10 years. I know un poquito. Okay. Still.
That's
after
right.
10 years. It's okay. You need 11 years to learn, I heard.
Yeah, and then get a Latin man, and then you're going to be all right in that.
Right. All of that. So, thank you, Buck. Welcome to the show. I'm about to bring a show favorite, the Queen Beyond. Come on, Miss Veronique with a new lighting, new laptop, new everything. Who this?
You know.
Yes.
Arigato. Veronique. I remember that from Veronique. Yes.
Oh,
I remember that from high school. That's all.
That's it.
Okay.
That's the end all and be all on that one.
Well, tell the people a little bit about you, even though they do know you. Tell them a little more.
Well, I am Veronique, the comedian, but the last name is actually St. Clair. I am actually now doing voiceover work, so if anybody needs a drop, I'm here for that. I got you, especially you, comedian, visionary.
Yes, come on, we can play little birdies. Tweet, bitch. Tweet, bitch. Yes. Okay, voiceover. That would be amazing. Could you imagine us as like 2 birds on a like a little a cartoon
on top of a wire, just watching the hood, just
you two need to be the 2 birds in a Pixar movie. Y'all sitting up there on the little electrical post, like. Girl, you see her behind that dumpster. Yeah.
You know we gonna shit on it.
See, they need to make up for the Dumbo ones. They gotta make up for the Dumbo birds. So we can do that. Just black women for change.
But I'm out here in these comedy streets.
In these streets.
Trying to The virtual kind though. But
right.
I'm out here.
The COVID free.
The COVID free. At my home in my domicile.
Safe.
Safe as I could be.
Well, that's wonderful. But we're glad to have you back on the show, Queen. Can't wait to hear your views about the future. Can't go nowhere but up from here.
Absolutely.
And also another show favorite, bringing back to the stage, Joseph. Welcome. Hey. He got the headset. He ready, baby. He about to do your IT work. Just light work. So everybody knows.
I was going to say, three black people who know Japanese, we're doing something.
We are a monolith. We are not all the same.
We are not a monolith.
So tell the people a little about you.
I'm a fairly new comedian. I've done exactly one open mic. But before I was doing one open mic in person, I've done several on Zoom. But I was doing comedy improv before that, just for fun.
Cool. Well, there we
go. I'm kind of new. It's interesting, having to do a lot of Zoom mics with comedians who've been on stage because they're always telling me how different it is, and I'm like, oh, I don't even know.
Right. Like, oh, okay, sure. Sounds good to me. Well, welcome, Joseph. And lastly, but not leastly, we got a queen on the podcast today, Miss Nyroma, a.k.a. Sweet Chocolate. Come on, Sweet Chocolate.
Hey now.
Tell the people about you.
Sweet Chocolate. Come on, Sweet Chocolate. Hey now.
How y'all doing? Well, Sweet Chocolate, Nyroma, whichever you call me, just call me. Look, I've been doing comedy off and on. Really, I started, the first time I ever got on stage was in 1998 up here in Albany. But then when I always tell a story because it's crazy. My daughter loved it. She thinks it's hilarious. I went to audition at the Apollo in 2010, and I couldn't get past the 90 seconds. And the lady said, go out the same door you came in. So I was like choking on that humble pie. I was like, oh no, I ain't going for this one. So I started going to open mics. And I'm glad she did that because I thought about it. If she would have let me get through not being ready, and that Sandman would have came out and all them people out in the audience, I would never live that down. I'd have had nightmare forever. So she did me a favor by having me choke on that humble pie and learn to stay humble. And so I've been doing it off and on ever since at 2010, and I've been in some acting classes. And so, Source in the city, Hope Flood, I give kudos to her. I've been to LA a few times to her classes, and I met a lot of different people. And so, since I'm older, I'm in and out. I ain't letting it stress me. I'm not having them get me stressed out about making another, sucker laugh. You know what I'm saying? Like, make people laugh just naturally on a regular. So I'm not going to be stressed out trying to make a bunch of people laugh, especially COVID. I'm not getting on those stages right now. You won't
we understand
unless you see me online. Mm-hmm. But it's good to meet you all, and thank you for serving, Buck. And I would love to go maybe overseas in about 3 years. 3 years after COVID done left, and do some comedy, But I ain't going nowhere right now. No stages.
It's a lot of fun.
No stages. I know.
All right. So we go. We know it's a little. Oh, there we go. Hold on. Let me unmute. There you go. Buenos dias. Buenos dias. That's all I got for it too.
Buenos noches.
Buenos noches. Hasta luego.
Yes.
Adios.
No.
All right. So we got a little bit of an echo. So we're gonna keep.
No hablo español.
Neither, girl. Slightly. So
Okay.
we gonna mute, and then we gonna come back to Miss Naroma because it's a little echo every time we get her on there. But we're gonna keep her in the cast, so whenever she needs something, we gonna just put the church finger up. Y'all know what it is. We black. Y'all get it. Uh, you get the church finger. It's both a entering and an exiting finger. I usually only use it when I'm exiting. Like, ooh. But we're going to start this thing off with the question of how many years, I mean, and for us who've been only a few months in a game, how long have you been in comedy? And what is your experience of the comedy world so far? Has it been a positive experience? Clearly, because you're still doing the shit. But has it been a positive experience so far? So how many years in has it been a positive experience? Let's start with Joseph. Go ahead, get us started as one of the newbies. I always love to. We could just put it in order like a singular wireless commercial, just doom doom doom. But how many months or years, and has it been a positive experience for you?
So outside of the Zoom mics, which I've been doing pretty much the whole COVID, I like I said, I did 2 years of comedy improv. In my class, my comedy improv classes, we did a little bit of stand up comedy writing and acting, and I really enjoyed all of it. I think I really latched on to the comedy writing. Um, doing the Zoom mics and doing stand up, I really do enjoy those. You know, I've just learned how to start writing jokes, and it's been a good experience. I met so many nice and friendly people just doing the Zoom mics, and so I'm really enjoying myself.
I know. I met everybody on here through a Zoom mic. Which is beautiful, because we would have never met. Won't he do it?
Very true.
Amen.
So I've been really taking advantage of this time to like network and reach people who normally probably would have been booked and busy are now sitting at their house and they actually responding to DMs. So I'm like, yes, yes.
That is so
That
true.
part.
That's the part.
It's opening up so many doors. So let's go to Queen Veronique. How long have you been in this comedy game?
So officially since March of this year. Unofficially probably for about 3 or 4 years. I used to shadow someone for a few months, and then after that got disillusioned. I got fired. But
Look, are we dropping names? Are we... Okay, we gonna keep it.
We're gonna keep it cute for now. We're gonna keep it real cute for now.
You can just drink to that. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah, I had kind of kept my foot in it, but not really stepped fully into it, and I got rid of a lot of toxic stuff that was weighing me down. So comedy came at the right time. I was like, oh, okay. Whew.
Alignment.
That part.
Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely. Well, let's go on down to Miss Sweet Chocolate. Let me just unmute the mic so we don't have no feedback. There we go.
Better. This is better.
How long have you been in comedy, Miss Naroma, and has it been a positive experience?
Yeah, this is better.
It is. Still echo, but we gonna roll with it.
Comedy. Okay, I was just a humorist all my life. My cousin told me when we was young, we'd get in trouble, but I used to make jokes on the side and we all be laughing. You know how the parents, don't laugh. What are you laughing about? And I have be saying stuff. I didn't remember, but they remembered. So I was the class clown in school and all that. So later in life, way later in life, they told me to get on stage. And so, the bold person that I am, I'll say, all right, but it's a nervous thing to get on stage, but the more people in the crowd, the more energy it gives me, and I love to see a smile on people's face because, I have two personalities and I could put a frown on people's face as well, so I rather my good side, my sweet side. You know what I mean? I should have changed my name to Sweet and Sour because, when you meet Romy, she's sour. You meet
No, you
sweet
got that Romy.
chocolate, she's sweet. Yeah, that Romy ain't nothing to play with. Look, Romy ain't nothing to play with like COVID. Look. But I've been doing it off and on up here for for a while. And sometimes I want to make you laugh, sometimes I don't feel like it because I go through my pain with fibromyalgia. So, I was like, man, I need somebody to make me laugh sometimes, forget about this pain I go through. But this what helps me. They always say if you want to feel better, help somebody else. So I just try to go with the flow and enjoy. But it hasn't always been good. But what I like about it now is that those people that didn't want to put me on their stage, now they ain't got no stage. Look, they gotta do what I'm doing online.
Yes,
You know what I'm
Carol.
saying? Yeah. The people who wouldn't let you get a car, now they trying to get rid of them cars because they're getting rusty in the lot. It's like things have changed. God has his way, to balance things out. You thought you was better than, now you right down here with us peons.
I can appreciate that. I can appreciate that. So I just and that's what I was thinking with the whole thing about alignment and how life works. It seems like some people are really thriving during this time, like most of us on here who are taking advantage of the opportunities. And then I get in some groups and I see comedians like I just took this time to realize maybe comedy isn't for me. I'm like, well, damn. I done seen so many. I just joined the group and I done seen like 8 people quit. And I'm like, God damn. It's just they got tired of hearing the booze. They wasn't ready for the booze. They was like, look, maybe I don't need to live like this. Do I keep having to like live like this? I be feeling bad for them. But then at the same token, I'm like, well, get the hell on then. Like, make more room for the rest of us who want to get on these goddamn stages if you so damn tired. But Buck, what do you have to say? Like, how many years you been in the game and has it been an enjoyable experience?
I feel like I've been on stage, like, because I sang too. So I was on stage. I've been on stage like the majority of my life. Now that I guess I'm considered somewhat of a professional comic. So maybe professionally for 7 or 8 years, which means, I'm only getting 1 or 2 minutes more than most of y'all. You know what I'm saying? It don't really mean nothing. Or I'm featuring for somebody and I've headlined small places and been features or whatever, but that's not bragging. It's like, sometimes you can be in the business. I know Miss Ruth Ann Miller, she's 82 and she started doing comedy when she was 75. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of, it doesn't matter like when you hit it. It doesn't matter when you walk away from it. It just matters what you put into it when you put it into it. So, yeah, it hurts. It does hurt not being on stage because the feeling you can't, what's the word I'm trying to say? You can't fabricate that feeling. But sometimes it is kind of safe when you could just by mistake, when you're drowning, you just hit that button and all of a sudden your mic goes off and you be like, my internet is bad. I don't know who that belongs to, but we've been there. It's like, okay. Oh, he ain't at Starbucks. So let's go ahead and pull back. Because his connection wasn't good and neither was his joke. So no, and I'm just picking. That's to nobody in particular.
No,
but
real.
that is the nicety of doing it on some of the Zoom. And I've had the pleasure to meet all of you all. So off and on, like most of my life, and I'm in my 40s. That's right, I'm in my 40s. Yeah, I'm in my 40s. But off and on for many years. But in the last 7 or 8 years before COVID, it really was starting to get really good. Experiences with other comedians, it's a mixed bag of grapes because now a lot of comics, especially in the European and the Asian theater and even the South Asian theater, those guys and girls network differently than comics in America. I think now comics in America, because of COVID, are now having to start to network and really be like, hey, I really for beginning comics, middle comics, interim comics or whatever. So now the networking piece is now kind of catching up, because by the time I went from one place, in Asia or to Europe or to India, somebody was like, "Oh, hey Buck, we knew you were in town. You wanted to come in and do this 8-minute spot." It's not like that in America unless you know somebody over there. And if you go to LA, half of the shows in LA are bringer shows. You're getting 3 minutes, 90 seconds, you know what I mean? And you got to fill up the place. You got to bring like 10, 12 of your friends. So it's a different animal, completely. So I think for the American scene, and even more so the Black comedians, the circle is starting to now close, because now everyone is not being forced to network, but they're actually polite about networking. You know what I'm saying? Because when this shit lifts, motherfuckers want to work. So now you done made 50 or 60 people in circles, in situations that you might have not met them, or you didn't have a chance to actually connect and talk with them. I never thought that I'd be sitting up there. I have been introduced to Big Weezy maybe 6 times, but now Big Weezy actually knows my name. Like, we have conversation. Like what you were saying, he DMs me like there's other people now. I'm like, "Hey Weezy, what you doing?" He's like, "Man, I'm sitting on this toilet." You know what I mean? So and just using that as an example, there's a lot of people now. You're right, they are in your DMs. It's like, "What you got going on? What you got going on?" And people are now a little more forthcoming with actually helping, giving advice, because that grind is kind of gone. But once it returns, I hope everyone keeps this mentality of, hey, let's help everybody out. Hey, I got a homegirl that's coming through. Can you put her up, or can you put him on stage, or can you do whatever, or what are the LGBT kids doing? Like, are they doing a set, or what's happening? So we need to be a little more proactive in that sense about keeping it fluid. But in the overseas market, it's very uncommon, if you go into a city and you're a comedian, if you don't hit people up prior and somebody knows somebody that knows somebody, they'll be like, "Yeah, man, come through. It's an open mic, but we've got 7 of them this week.
Wow.
Get on there and I could put you in a feature and maybe give you a little $80 at the end of the week." So it does bear fruit. It definitely does bear fruit. But again, I'm not, by time in, I'm not even considered seasoned. I'm merely a little above. Now I'm like I'm interim. I'm middle of the road. So I'm famous in my own mind, but I gotta still stand in line for my own iPod, iPad or whatever.
That's okay. Jesus still loves you.
Listen, let me hold $5 and I'll stand in line.
I mean, you still a leg up on a lot of people, and that's where it is interesting, because like I'm just getting in the game. I've only been in it for about probably 7 months now, but it's just when you come in with a fresh mind to comedy and coming from a different field, like I'm coming from a corporate world. I'm a counselor, so I work with mental health a lot, and I've come to find that comedians have a lot of mental health issues. I don't know if it was like a surprise.
Bipolarism and narcissism,
bipolar, depression, some people schizophrenic. It's just and I guess that's the beauty of comedy, because you're able to use it as an avenue to get your words out and to get your and to be heard. And I never knew that it would be so many people who are like have anxiety and who aren't social, but they're comedians. And they can get on the stage. Oh my God! But come on now, you not
again.
God, I would never know.
I'm shy in my person.
Okay,
fair.
At my home, it's very quiet. I don't like a lot of noise, and I'll listen to music. I'll drink some wine, but I'm an introvert at home. That light flips on and it's something else. But at home, I like it quiet. I'm very introspective, at home.
Yeah.
And people are like, "You got midgets and shit under the bed." It's like, no, it's just some old shoes and a record. It's none of that.
What kind of life do you think I'm living out here?
Exactly.
Go. Oh, Miss Tyrone, let's get you in on this. Go ahead. There you go.
Yeah, it's funny, Buck, how you say that, because when I told people I grew up shy, they didn't believe it
Right.
because of my
Right.
personality. You know, like I'm both an introvert and then I can be a social butterfly. You know, but what happens is when I run into the wrong energy, it makes me go back inside. I
I'm
shut
the
Yeah.
down. You know what
same
I mean?
way. I'm the
Like if
same
I
way.
got the positive, yes, yes. If I got the positive energy, I could go with the flow. Like Visionary Speaks, I click with her right away. I I really truly agree with you that we as comedians have issues, and of course, because I know I have issues, you know, with depression, the bipolar stuff, the all types of stuff. But yet, I'm blessed by God, and I have a special gift. And one of the gifts is the ability to make others laugh when they even when they don't want to laugh, you know. And the other one is just the internal stuff of the visions in my sleep and just seeing stuff, and sometimes it bugs me out, but I'm learning as I get older to embrace it because God shows me stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
It's
You got to
beautiful.
use that. I mean, it's a gift that God gives certain people. I think it's a double edged sword a little bit, and we're gonna talk about that because I want to talk about the dark spaces of comedy, and in particular how we treat each other. Because even though I haven't been in that environment very long, I've seen the cynicism, and a lot of people just charge it to the fact, oh, we comedians, so if you know, when you talk seriously, we're gonna of course make a joke about it. But it's like, no, there's something in there. There's something underneath that cynicism that's seeping through, and it takes me coming in as a counselor to be like, nah, bro, like you're in an abusive relationship with comedy, and
Yes.
people don't think about it like that because I wondered about it when I first got into comedy, and I started to ask about the details of the business of comedy, and I was inquiring about it, and I got so much negative energy back. Like it was just like, well, just expect to be broke, you'll never make any money, and like all this other stuff, and I just felt so bad for them. You know, more so sympathetic than empathetic because it's like you don't know your worth. Even if you're the most terrible comic on the stage, bitch, you taking up time on that stage and they still buying drinks. So, like, you even the booze is therapeutic for people to boo, you know, and to be able to judge somebody else. So, just the fact that so many people go into these businesses because these are businesses and they don't get paid, they're just there to provide a service and get that exposure, but sometimes it never reaps any fruit. So I just want to talk about the dark crevices of comedy where, you know, a lot of people work for free. A lot of people don't see the benefit, but there are people who make it. Clearly, we see them. And the world is surrounded around comedy, whether it be stand up, TV. Most of the shows we watch have comedic elements in them and they have comedy writers. So there are people who are making money off of this industry, but we see so many who do it for free or for very little. Like, how do we explain that in comedy first? So for a new person like me, how do you make sense of this? You know, because I don't want to work forever. Buck, I got to get you in on this, and then we're going to get down here to Joseph and then back up to Veronique and then down to Narama. Let's get this conversation. Let's go.
I think too for that is very that is something that I kind of overcame just a little bit like a few years ago because you're like I can do every open mic and I can do so once you stop doing open mics and you start getting featured and whatever what is your time worth and what is your self-value worth and why is that a crime to get paid for something that you like to do? There's people fuck for free. Why? You know what I'm saying? Why? Get a new car, get a refrigerator out of it, get a new washer and dryer. Don't ever give something valuable away for nothing. You can compromise and there can be an exchange, but when I'm telling these jokes, you're gonna have to give me a meal, a drink ticket, and at least a little $50, something, because what is my time worth? Now, if I choose to do something for the credit, if I do choose to do something for the credit and that is established, but there's no shame in asking, what is the booking fee? How much, what I'm yielding what from doing what? I'm traveling from here. Now, if it's somebody like, if tomorrow Chappelle was like, we going on the road for 1 year and I'm not going to pay you. Number one, I'll be like, Dave, you rich as fuck. You can give me something. But number two, that's when you set up all the other side hustles in your business with your social media, your merchandising, all of these things, and let that filter out into your financial gain. What is your time worth? We cannot continue to do things completely for free. But like I said, if you choose to do something, make sure you are getting a good credit out of it, and it can help you perpetuate some of your other businesses or your business or your brand, because everybody has a brand, even if they don't think they do.
Right.
Everyone here is a brand. So that's I started to ask the question. It's going to take me 40 minutes by the train to get here, or I'm driving an hour, or you want me to fly and I'm paying my own accommodations. Like, what's going on? I need to see a contract. The first time I actually saw my first comedy contract was like 5 or 6 years ago. And I'm like, what? And then a friend of mine was like, you've got a big show. Why aren't you renegotiating for more money? And I was like, wait a minute.
Renegotiations?
And
who knew that?
Yeah, and I got a master's in project management. Like, what was I thinking? You know what I mean? So you learn all these things, and then you're like, yeah. So the next year you start looking at everybody in the audience, and when you run a show, sustain a show, you perform, and you're like, wait a minute, we've been bringing in numbers of 200 plus for 1 year. This next contract, I need a budget of at least $2,000 or $6,000 per show so I can pay. I made it a habit. Even if I gave you $50, some food, if you weren't a feature or a headliner, you left with something, because I wanted people to at least let me at least compensate you with some gas and something to eat. Because some struggling comics, like, that's all that they do. Yeah. I know some of them kids were hungry and spent their last to get on that good show that they did for a credit, but you're going to leave with something messing with me.
That's beautiful. I can appreciate that now. It is like that. It comes in being in a different field where I do get paid, for everything that I do. I'm not an unemployed person. I'm not an unemployed comic. I work a good state job. I got good state benefits and all that good shit. And even to consider transitioning from a world like that and take my street chances out here with this comedy shit, it gives me kind of like, I know that this is my passion and this is what I love and this is what I think God called me to do. But sometimes that door got my foot in it. Like, I don't want to close the door on this situation before I can, know I'm going to make it on the other side. Right. But, I look at comedians and people like, Steve Harvey, who had to leave and sleep in his car, and Tiffany Haddish, who was homeless, and all these people who really sacrificed. And I'm like, do I have to get to the point of sacrifice to make it? And that part, I don't know if I'm always, fully ready to do the big sacrifice of taking like even when we were talking about moving. I live in Detroit. There's only so many comedy opportunities in Detroit. There are others in Chicago and in Las Vegas and in all these other areas. Sacrifice is a hell of a thing, and then that's the decisions we have to make as comics. It's like, do we leave everything we know to just throw caution to the wind? And what if we get out there and find out we ain't that funny? Or you get out there and find out that you are funny, but nobody's listening, So it's interesting. Veronique, what do you have to say about it?
I know I definitely think about the, you're funny, but nobody's listening piece a lot. I actually had a set on Monday out at a rooftop restaurant, and these motherfuckers wasn't thinking about coming to a comedy show. They was just trying to eat and get drunk. So, when you're in that kind of atmosphere, you're like, okay, y'all not here to giggle. But okay. I know but I mean, they clapped it up for me because it was like, oh no, come on, you got it. I'm like, I don't think I do because y'all not laughing. I need giggles, my nigga. I need giggles.
Audible giggles, my nigga. Audible. The audibles of giggles. They don't get that.
treat it like an open mic, work your material, and keep it moving.
And I mean, that's pretty much what I ended up doing, because I'm like, okay, like in my mind, I'm stalling out, but I'm like, I'm physically doing the shit. Like they don't know. Of course, like, it's all behind the eyes. You ain't got to know what's going on up in here. I got a poker face. I'm cool,
Right?
but like definitely coming into this, especially at the time that I did come into it, because when I came into it, I was unemployed. I do virtual assistant work now, so that helps me out. But like, I want to pursue comedy as my profession. Honestly, there's no such thing as a dream job to me, because I do not prefer labor. Labor is not my thing. I do not give a fuck about labor. Like money is a means to an end. I gotta pay bills. I gotta do. I don't give a fuck about money. Now, wait, let me not lie like that. Y'all see what I'm looking like right now. So
roll it back.
But like, trying to figure out how do you sustain yourself in comedy and all of that, which is why I've gone into the offshoot of doing voiceover acting, because they might not have laughed at the jokes, but they was like, listen, can you do a DJ drop for a nigga? And I'm like, you know what? Yes, absolutely. And I'm here for that. So like, trying to like find a hustle within my gift is what I've been trying to focus in more.
Yeah. And there's multiple ways, like, and I was watching another podcast with like Guy Torrey, and he said people don't really look at the many jobs of comedy. You don't always have to be in front of the camera, or you don't have to be in, the headliner of the show. You could be hosting the show, you could be behind the scenes, you could be doing the writing for people. There's so many ways to do comedy that we don't think about, but when you get into it, it's kind of got that narcissistic element. Like, I want them to know who I am. This is my shit. I wrote that shit. But you don't have to. You don't have to be the headliner. You don't have to be the one, because a lot of the comics that I've met on this different platforms aren't the headliner. They either open up, or they've been in situations where they've written for other people, and they still get paid the same. Like, they still get the money. So it's just the way you think about it. And that's where I think about myself. Like, I don't have to be in front of the screen, even though I should. I could work the behind the scenes.
Oh, girl.
But, I'm fine with that, as long as the check cash. But I just don't want to do anything else for the rest of my life that I don't love. That's it. Yeah. They can pay me what I'm getting paid now or less. I just want to be able to sustain my lifestyle and do what I love every day of my life. That's it. That's all I want.
I definitely need to upgrade in lifestyle, but once I get to that, then yeah.
Then you want to sustain it. You got to upgrade and then sustain it. That's the goal. That's the goal.
I want to make sure I can pay my mama rent now.
Right. But you're trying to pass down wealth is what you're talking about. Just passing it down. That's what we want. That's the goal. That's the goal.
Well, thanks to COVID, don't nobody got to pay their rent at least for another 18 months.
Oh, my student loans is on the shelf, baby. My student loans is on the shelf, so I'm glad about that. Except for that private bitch that keep on calling me. That's it. But my regular student loans is on the shelf. Joseph, what do you have to say? I saw the nods on the topic of, just the world of comedy. Go ahead.
So I've had some experience doing comedy writing, and I really enjoyed that. My comedy improv class, it was kind of funny. We mostly did improv, but our teacher had us do everything. We had to practice comedy writing. We did a little stand up. We did impressions, and I really enjoyed comedy writing. I wrote a sketch. It got chosen for we did like an opening show for our final test, and my sketch got chosen. It was like you said, you don't always have to be out front. Yeah, I was backstage watching the actors act it out, and it felt good. It was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, everybody got to play their role.
But you know what that makes you, Joseph? The fact that you wrote a sketch, that shit makes you employable. That's what that makes you, and that's a wonderful quality to have. Because you're like you both, everyone kind of hit it on the head. Like, I love hosting. And
he good at that shit.
But I enjoy it because you set the tone for the show. You can have fun, and low key, you can say whatever you want. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And you could just have a good time with it and
Mm-hmm.
talk a little shit. I like to
Mm-hmm.
interact with the audience. I like doing a set. I like just being on stage. So I get the most stage time being the host.
Yes,
You
it's me
know,
again. Back
low
up,
key.
and you can kind of help keep the mood of the room up, and you can help other comics.
Yep.
Or you can tear them down, however you want to do it.
Get it up, push it
that
along,
you
move it
know,
along,
I
move it
mean,
along.
hey,
Yeah.
I mean,
yes,
Gabrielle Union told us, did you get the job? Did you get the girl? Did you get the guy? You know, you ain't
hey,
got
if you got it, you got
Well,
it. That's all I gotta say.
I,
Wow.
I think it was. I actually got to see you host Buck on one of Anthony's shows, I believe, and it was funny. And it was one of those things where you were good at it. You know, you were after everybody said, you
Thank
kind
you.
of told a joke, and it was like, oh, this is nice. You know, I think
Yes.
everybody enjoyed it.
I think it's
I
just
just
the
yeah.
pacing. The pacing is good for a host, and
Yeah.
just knowing how to entertain in the interim. And what I've learned about hosting from other people who've told me about hosting and hosting some events myself is that it's not about you. It's not about you being
It's not.
great. You're not supposed to steal
right.
nobody else's shine, nobody else's moment. You're just supposed to
Oh,
facilitate
You are
Yeah,
just supposed to facilitate and keep it moving.
and keep it
Keep
yeah.
moving.
everything moving.
Yep, yep, yep. So let's get Miss Nyroma in on this. Go ahead. What do you think about just the world right now of comedy?
I I I love it. I enjoyed you all sharing different things, and identify Buck, you awesome, and Ver- Veronique,
Yes,
Veronique. I'm trying to say.
Veronique.
I want to say her name, huh? Veronique,
Yes,
Veronique,
thank you.
which is beautiful. So I want to get it right because I've been through it since public school. People messing up my name, and
Me
it
and you
made
both.
me shy and felt like something was wrong with me
Mm-hmm.
because they couldn't
Nope,
say my name. Look, I said,
nope. They
no,
wasn't
that's
big
why
enough
we
to be
don't
saying it.
school.
That's
Learn
what
how
it
to
is.
say my name. Look, yes,
They
but
wasn't good enough to be saying it in the first place.
we
It's
can
like,
use our yes, we can use our talents in so many ways and put a humor in it because I want to be a motivational speaker because I've been through I'm a survivor of domestic violence. I've been on the street. So I have a lot of stuff. Like I wanted one of my goals is to do a one woman show, but I have some
I can see
comedians
that.
open up for me. But I've been lazy, but I need to write it out because I have enough material and experience that I can do a one woman show. But behind that is getting it together and getting the support, and
mm,
all that stuff. But the comedy world can be so cruel too, and because it's
Yeah.
different personalities, and some people are like vultures, and like he said, narcissistic and me, and other people are caring and giving. It's enough for all of us, but just like up there in the White House, they don't want to
mm-hmm.
give up none, not even stimulus. I told people, I don't know how y'all asking for the stimulus when they ain't even gave us the 40 acres and a mule.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't never
Let's
get
talk.
that. So
Mm-hmm.
You
how you
know,
get
that's a
Mm-hmm.
waiting
whole
be
nother
looking
topic.
for a
Mm-hmm.
stimulus? Look.
Mm-hmm.
That's
the
true.
you can use comedy in so many ways, but it's different avenues. Like I've been in a movie, I've been in acting, and so therefore, I like acting. I was supposed to go to performing arts, but because I was so shy, I didn't tell my mother, and I wouldn't get on the stage for the audition back when I was a teenager. So I blew it. But every time I would watch a movie or TV, it would eat at me. Like you could have been there, shoulda, coulda, woulda, But I was timid, I was shy, and I probably would have died out there, messing around with what I was messing around with. I probably wasn't ready. So God protected me.
Oh,
Now
Very deep.
I'm ready. I could be in a movie.
I'm
I
glad you
could
still
be
here.
motivational speaker. I could use you know, yes, I could use my talents now, but I have to be surrounded around the positive energy and the good forces. Cause them vultures, man, they play games and they don't really want to
Mhm.
see you go nowhere. They just
Nah.
trying to bring you
Yeah.
down. So you gotta protect yourself from that. So I always pray and ask God to protect me. Even before I go on stage, I ask Him to give me the ability to make other people laugh. And I have a great show when I do that, you know?
Amazing. I just
That's
love
wonderful.
sweet chocolate. I just love it so much. And that's the beauty of like this industry is, and that's where we're moving towards the future of comedy, right? Oh, Robert Kane said hey. Hey, Robert. Gotta get you on the show. The beauty of comedy is that you can create your own spaces. So one thing that Veronique brought up that is very important these days, which I hate so much, is social media. And social media is such an integral part of defining your brand. And it can even be an integral part in actually getting work in this business.
I'm so terrible at it.
And I hate it here so much because prior to actually being in comedy, I didn't give a frugal fuck what people thought about me, who followed me, who was my friend. I was one of them girls that, probably was a little bitch because I just walked around like I didn't know I was pretty. I was just cool with everybody, just like, and not being that person. But I had a lot of people who knew me. I didn't, and just because I went to college, I knew people, and stuff. So I had about, like, on my page, I got about 700 people, and these are people that I know. Met you, talked to you at some point, and I got about 300 in my wannabe friends, in my inquiries and shit. But like social media wise, when I started doing comedy, I couldn't get a damn person to follow me to save my life, and I never understood it. I'm like, how can I have like 700, loyal friends and family over here, but when I tell you go follow my comedy page, it's trickles, everybody's quiet. I'm like, what happened? So what do y'all feel about the new age of social media? And we got social media comics. Now, one beautiful part about it is these niggas get money. They got ads. They out here being influencers. And they're doing well when you are able to do well. Once you make it, everything is good. But what do y'all think about the social media world in comedy? Let's start with Buck. Because he got the light shining on him like Jesus.
This is something that I struggle with on a day-to-day basis, the social media piece, because I have not recorded sets that were brilliant or that I thought were brilliant anyway, or I forget to, let me post this today and let me make this funny meme today. Yep. Because I like, hey, let me get on stage. Let me put together a show. That's what I like to do. I want to host this. Let's do this. And I forget the very, very important piece. And you see people that may not be entertaining, or they're entertaining in some way. They got 56,000 followers because they're consistent. And there's actually an algorithm on how to do this whole thing. When are you posting? What are you posting? Are your hashtags right? A lot of all that bullshit. That's a lot of work. I want to get an assistant that does all that shit for me.
Yeah, you and me both.
But I can only pay them.
Yes, thank you,
so we're
Veronique.
gonna connect and talk about this afterwards.
Somebody needs to post my shit for free.
But that's the big thing, you gotta edit your videos and do all of these things. So that's just that piece is just a lot of work. I think social media has cut out a lot of these people that have hands in your money. I mean, especially look at the record industry. Yeah. Look at, you could put out an album. You could make an album. You could write an album from your phone. And put it on Spotify, do whatever, or upload it on iTunes or whatever, and you're getting 30%, 30 points on every unit.
Right.
That wasn't the deal back in the day. Out of 100 units, some people were getting 2 units, 3 units.
Them Motown contracts were trash.
The Motown contracts. And them Sony contracts. You know what I'm saying? Prince don't even know who he is because, I'm sorry, rest in peace. But he gave up his name. So, all of these things. So I think social media does have a place in the entertainment industry, and as comedians, it does have a place.
Absolutely.
However, I need to get better with it as well. I think it does have a place, but I struggle with it. It takes me out of my comfort zone, because I do like to be on stage. I have to
Yeah.
force myself even to do, I missed the wrong day for your last show. And I'm like, I don't check my posts like
checking
that.
his messages.
Yeah. People like, I DM'd you last week, but shit, you should have called me because I'd answered the phone. So that's just my take on
Send me an email.
Send me an email. Send me a bagel.
Send me an email.
Go ahead, Joseph.
Joe got something to say.
Yeah, go ahead, Joseph. What do you think about social media and how it works in comedy?
One interesting thing I've been like recently with me just following social media is all the cancel culture people are talking about.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find a line. Like I really don't have a formed opinion on it right now. I'm trying to figure out where is the line between funny and offensive. Because sometimes you catch. I've been in comedy groups and they post about I've never had it happen to me thinking this, but people get in debates about something somebody said. And I'm like, that could be, like, where's that line?
Mm-hmm.
It's thin. It's very thin. Like when I look at like the SNL with Bill Burr, everybody was up in arms about the things that he said on there, and he wasn't lying. But it's just, and a lot of people respected it, but then the people that he was talking about did not like it at all. They were like, white women were up in arms. You cannot talk about us like this.
They were carrying it.
Right, carrying the Karenin of it all.
The Karenin.
Karenin.
Not the awakening, the Karenin.
The Karenin. Oh, that'd be a good movie.
No, I was just thinking that, the Karenin.
We're going to put a pin in that. But,
starring Tyler Perry.
No! God, no. But, probably starring Amy Schumer. But it's just like, it is what Joseph is saying. It's like, I feel sometimes I feel weird about it because I am one of those activists. I am for all people. I am for the promotion of Black people, LGBTQIA. I am so for that, but I don't like sensitivity. I think people are too sensitive these days, where when it comes to comedy, you can't even take the joke for what it is. Now, I also know that some jokes just ain't funny and they're not skillfully put, but it just seems like we can't say anything without disappointing somebody, outraging somebody. And it's like, well, can we even be honest with each other? Because one thing we have to do is kind of coexist. So that's why what I do on my show is I bring people of different backgrounds and different ideas, and I put them in the same room, not for them to agree, but for them to hear each other. Because it seems like cancel culture is also silence culture. Like, I may not like Trump supporters and their views at certain times, but I'm not going to be like, I don't want you to ever speak your opinion ever again in life. I just only want to hear people who are me. It doesn't diversify our accounts. So it just makes me think that in that way, social media is damning, because anything you say can make somebody offended, and that's where I grew up with roasting. I'm a young girl from Detroit. I know Nairobi's from New York. We grew up on roast culture. They would roast your dead grandparent out here in these streets, and they didn't give a fuck about it. If you had a dead mama, your ass is grass. They reading you from the grave. It's just for filth. They reading your mama for filth. Like, you talking all that shit, but you ain't got no mama. Like, what? Wait a minute. Like that. Maybe that's why your mama left. Like, them niggas was rough. Like, but now it's like, even Def Comedy, they did. Like, Def Comedy Jam, they would get up
back then.
Oh my God, I wish I was there. I wish I was there. Like, sometimes I know I'm a 70s kid in heart, and I just wish I grew up during that time so I could be out here when they were just roasting people in the streets, because I know I would change some people's mind. Like, they'd be like, oh, she pretty, but then she roasted the fuck out of this nigga's shoes. Like, that's who I am. And sometimes I feel like, and I've been in situations where, not Roma knows, where I would get on a show that's roasting, and they'd be like, you're going too hard. You need to, don't let it, you don't want to be that angry Black woman. And it's like, but this is comedy. So I don't know what the line is I'm not going to roast you to the point where I'm disappointed in myself and my mama calling me like, hey, what you out here doing on this? But I'm gonna make it skillfully, creatively roast the fuck out of you. But it just feels like you can't do that anymore because somebody's gonna cry, and I hate it because it's my generation. It's us. It's us. We the ones crying, and in a way that we need people to be more sensitive. We need people to be more aware of their dumbassery, and we need more awareness of different groups and cultures, but not to the point where we are always crying, like constantly crying over every spilled milk, every spilled comment. Sometimes you got to build up a tough exterior, and to be able to really have a conversation with somebody, you can't be crying the whole time. You just have to. I don't know, but I want to get an aroma in on this, and then I'll come back up to Buck because they are our superiors in this conversation to be able to put some knowledge to the bullshit we have to deal with as young people in the industry. But go ahead. Oh God, it's the rough. I hate it here so much. Now, Roba, what do you have to say about this new culture?
I I I was enjoying you talking about the roasting because you are a great roaster. And then it brought me back to when I was younger. I told you I was always funny, right? When I was younger, I roast somebody or one of the guys, and he beat me up, and I was gonna shoot him.
What?
And I had to have somebody talk me down. I was a teenager on Kingston Avenue, and the guy planned on beating me up because he felt I embarrassed him, but that was just me. I was sarcastic, I just had a personality that was sarcastic, and people would laugh because it was funny. And I wasn't trying to hurt him or anything. I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. That just was me. But he beat me up, and I sure was gonna shoot him, and I planned on shooting him both his legs and get my mother's gun at the time. And
Come
yes,
on,
I
Romy.
was angry black woman back then. And I thank God that my girlfriends aren't talked me out of it. Like, oh man. And then from there, I was like, I'm scared of my own self. But this new generation of comedians, they are so creative and gifted, and you don't let nobody stop you from moving forward. You know your gifts, and you know your worth, and you're worth what any uh comedian that's out there in the entertainment, once you learn the stages, once you learn the different things, and like brush up your skills, you are worth every penny of it. It don't matter if you was in for 2 years or 5 years. No, that old thing about you got to pay your dues and being here for years, man, I ain't got years to go. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? To be paying them kind of dues. I paid my dues when I was a child growing up, and they beat me up for making people laugh. You know what I mean? I paid my dues at home. Trying to be funny and got my behind whipped. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I done paid my dues. So if God gave me the gift and said I could go out there and do it, you need to pay me. You know what I mean? I'm like, no money, no funny. That's my rule, But I will do fundraisers and different things, but people will have you because they had me feeling like I don't want to do this, I'm quitting, I'm not funny enough. No, we have our bad days, but most of the people, you go somewhere and you don't know nobody and you have the whole stage cracking up, what is that telling you? You know what I'm saying? Like, I can go places, and it's not bragging, just saying from experiences. I can go places, and I don't have to know nobody, but they love my energy and they love my stage presence. Then I can go at home in Brooklyn and bomb on the stage and have to eat that humble pie again.
That's Brooklyn for you.
I've had the ups and downs of it. So, and it don't feel good when you bomb, but the thing is, get back up. That's like falling off a bike. You know what I mean? That's like getting beat up. You still living, so you get over that. You know what I mean?
So true, very
So,
true.
That's true.
just keep doing. I love to see the new generation in doing the comedy, but it shouldn't be no cutthroat, and it shouldn't be all the hate. We should be one big family and wanting to elevate each one another.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's the only part I don't like about it. Everybody
That's true.
always trying to cut everybody's throat. You know what I'm saying? Scared they gonna get more than but they no, it's a gift, and if God have it for you, can't nobody take it.
Ooh, yes, that's a word. That's a word. What God give me, can't nobody take it away.
I agree.
Go
I
ahead,
agree.
Buck. Just the idea of the social media cancel culture, that new generation, old generation sensitivity. You know what
Well,
I mean?
guys, it's really hard for me because I agree with you, sweet, delicious chocolate. I agree with you because I'm in my spirit, like I like the roast culture. I grew up because I'm petty. I'm petty. I'm not mean. I'm petty. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So when you want to talk a little shit, like the mama jokes, yeah, they're like, I'm gonna knock you down with this joke, but I'm getting up off your mama. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
love those delicious, terrible. Let's be real petty and let's be funny. And that's very, very hard. I had a terrible experience. I did a show and I used to sell that. I would pick the first Caucasian person in the front row and I'd be like, oh, look at this white privilege. Look at you. Just looking at me under your nose, and you're like, this nigger's funny. I would just go in, and one lady, she was having a bad life, and she was very disruptive to my set. She was flicking me off. She threw a beer at me, all kinds
Oh,
of stuff.
bitch, bold.
That that is the worst it has ever been for me on stage, and I didn't perform for about 4 weeks after that, and I contemplated quitting. My buddy Nick
I thought you was
Chopin.
gonna say whooping her ass.
Well, no, no, no. I
Fair,
wanted to,
fair.
but I mean, she was a 4'8" white woman. Like, what I'm saying? I'm a big dude. So I'd have slapped her, and then they'd have been like, yep, just like the
Yep,
girl
that's
who
the
walked
one.
the bird watcher. This
Shout out.
Look,
big
they were
girl.
like, we was
Yeah.
waiting.
He's gonna be on stage.
Hey Tom, we was just waiting on that. We were waiting on
Yeah,
him to make
yeah.
that mistake.
They'd have been like, you've been a little too successful for the last 13 years. It was
Exactly.
time we got you, nigga.
We're
It
taking
was
back
time.
the $50. We're
Yeah,
taking back the $50.
Yeah, yeah. And we're gonna pump your stomach and get that burger that we gave you, nigga.
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
No more free drinks for you.
Yeah, no free drinks. You're gonna drink from the hose like all your other brothers.
Exactly.
outside.
To the back of the kitchen for you,
So
sir.
but yeah, the sensitivity piece, just even from the social media side. So you're even experiencing that sometimes on stage too. Like when you say certain things, it's like, wait a minute, you know what I'm saying? I made a gay joke. That doesn't mean I hate gays. I made a black joke. I made a Jew. I'm racist now. Well, for being a minority, being a person of color, is that even possible for me to be racist? Because it's the equation race plus power. So all of these things, like the sensitivity sometimes is a bit much. And I think that is sometimes part of my uncomfortability with social media because because I'm petty, I cannot say some of the things that I would say because it's like, wait a minute, if you offend somebody on Facebook and they shut down your account, you don't exist anymore. Your ass is dead, and I don't, and I don't want to be dead on my Insta. I like my little 1,400 followers or whatever, but yeah, it's very, very difficult to do that. But I do like the roast platform. This new culture, it is a lot of sensitivity. However, on the flip side, the one thing that I do like about the new culture is the injustice is called out right away. The foolishness is stopped right away. My boy up there in Minneapolis started a whole movement within 15 minutes. Get off my neck. I can't breathe. In 15 minutes, it was viral all over the world. The foolishness. And now they were like, oh, shit, we can't be on their neck no more. It's like, oh, shit. You know what I mean? Shows like The Watchmen, Lovecraft, all these different, the jigs on Lovecraft.
Oh
my
honey,
goodness.
if I learned that dance without getting scared at night, I'll be in the right place.
Exactly. But I do like the I told that joke. I think that was the first time you and I were with Anthony. I love the protesting, but I like to be at the hero support table. Go on and let me organize the waters and hand out the clipboards and handle the registration. You ain't finna hit me with tear gas and make me cry. You ain't finna do none of that. So for you social warriors,
I'm at the front.
yeah, you social warriors, I support you. Let me write a check. Let me write a check and let me help you, because you can still fight. And so, but from the over, let's stop being sensitive. It's fucking comedy. It's fucking comedy. But if you say something, if you say it, then go in on their ass. That's where the pettiness
just stand
should be.
by it. Just be strong and wrong in your shit.
The ground.
That's it. Because somebody gonna love it. There is support in all corners, everywhere.
Absolutely.
Somebody will say, no, I like what he said. And that's where that support culture is like, you'll find your people. You will. Go ahead, Queen.
Well, I know, just like with Dave Chappelle, when he had the joke about the trans woman who, may she rest in peace, ended up passing away. But like, people were at his neck. And at the end of the day, he's already said, he's like, I'm never going to be sorry for nothing I say up here.
Nothing.
I'm never going to be sorry for anything I say up here. That's the commitment you have to have. You got to have the commitment that whatever you're going to say, you got to know it could get you canceled.
You're going to die on that shield.
Yeah.
And you better have the courage and the steel balls to get through whatever it is that you're going to have to get through until people forget about it. Because at the end of the day, granted, social media documents everything. It does. But people's attention spans are short.
Very.
They'll get over it.
They will.
And something else will happen. That's just how it goes.
The bullshit's not new. Just the method in which it's transmuted is new. That's it.
That's all.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah, I don't think we've evolved at all.
I work at elementary school, and I tell the kids will be like, I'm going to tell my mama. I tell them, everything that I say in front of you, I will say to your parents.
I will say right in front of your mama.
Right.
I love that. When I did substitute teaching, that's exactly how I'd be like, well, go ahead, call it right now, because I'm going to tell it right here in front of your face.
You want to use my phone?
You want to use my phone? And I got a video of it. I recorded.
Back in the day, it's like, I'm going to beat your ass till your mama get here, and she going to beat your ass.
Where's that?
Now they showing up with CPS. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, they showing up, and the parents is just as weak.
Corporal punishment went out once, what was it? Integration happened. Because you don't want one of them white folks beating the dog shit out of your kid. Your black
Not true.
Hell no.
In the South, because we were stationed, my dad, we were stationed in Alabama. I got licks up until you could get licks up until like 10th or 11th grade. You could either take detention, you could take detention, suspension, or you get 3 licks.
3 licks.
Lickings.
I remember.
I probably would have got 3 licks.
I
had the choice.
I would have chose the licks.
The principal called my mom and dad, and I was just like, you ain't finna hit shit.
Who you about to hit? These kids, they be like, who you about to I used to try to use threats that only work if you have good parents. And I didn't know that you can't use those type of threats with people who don't have good parents. Because I used to be out there like, if you say another thing, we gonna go in the hallway and we gonna have a talk. And they'd be like, what we gonna talk about? I'm like, what the fuck? No! I don't have to say anything. That's just a metaphor.
If your parents ain't shit, when the principal calls your house, prepared to get your ass whooped. Because if my mama had to come off her job.
Oh, yeah, that was the thing too. A lady got mad at me because she's like, bitch, that's your job. When they with you, that's you. Don't call on me at my job when they with you. You figure this out. And I was like, wait a minute, lady. Look, I don't get paid for this bullshit. Look, I am a substitute teacher, bitch. I don't get paid enough for this. You know, I'm gonna have your child out here on the curb. Yeah. Your child is in the hallway, ma'am. Yeah. I have locked that door. I have closed that door. Yeah. Some security is looking for him. He's roaming. I don't know what to tell you. He's roaming right now.
I took the fucking licks because if my parents came up there, I got Caribbean old school parents. It was an ass whooping. It was an ass whooping on a galactic level.
From the community.
I'm like, y'all beat me and don't call them. The one time I said call them, he was like, I'm gonna call your mom and dad. I could hear her through the phone. Tear his ass up, and we'll be there in an hour.
Tear his ass up till I get there.
Get started.
This is just a good nostalgia talk at this point. We just talking about whooping ass on this platform. This is beautiful. I just love how this conversation took a quick turn. But I will come back We gonna cut because Joseph is the only teacher. Go ahead, get your words out, Joseph. I know you got some gripes and
But
grieves. Go
no,
ahead.
I really just wanted to like have a question for some of the more experienced comedians because I know Buck mentioned like just loosely that lady threw a bottle at him. Like, how do you handle hecklers? I've never had a heckler, never
Yeah, I haven't been able to
and
do
never
crowd
been
work.
that
Ooh, I
situation.
can't wait till they
That's
come.
about it.
I'm gonna be
You,
waiting at the motherfucking door. They
my
not ready
friend
for me.
Joseph, you have to be number one. That unfortunately, that situation was horrible. Um, but there have been other situations where the crowd was out of control and people were heck. But if you draw them into you, have fun with it. If you forgot your whole set, that became your set.
Mm-hmm.
You got to switch it up and do that good crowd work. Go in on them because you know
Yes.
what? Once they disrupt your show and now you are completely their focus, it's going to embarrass them. They're going to chill out and their friends are going to laugh at them. And then in the end, hopefully they'll take it on the chin and everybody will have a good time.
And they
How do
won't
you
throw a
deal?
bottle.
And they won't throw a bottle. But how do you deal with hecklers? It's just a different
I got you,
situation for
Roman.
every heckler.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can't wait. I can't wait for them to be at. I wanted to. They have a group right now that's called like a heckler comedy, and it's just you go in there and they just heckle you, and they put a disclaimer too, like you can come in here and heckle the comics, but they can heckle back. So don't come in here and think your ass is about to walk in and start firing off shots and they can't shoot you back. I'm really considering doing that type of comedy because I love the smoke. I love, like, I'm a debater, so I will be in somebody's comment section till 3 o'clock in the morning, like, and another thing. So I don't know. I love hecklers. What do you think, Naroma?
I don't know. I love heck. What do you think, Nara?
Well, sometimes, at my age, they be throwing me off. But I had a heckler up here in the open mic years ago, and he was like, hey, sweet chocolate, trying to, come at me, flirt with me. I said, and he had his liquor in his hand. I said, no, liquor and chocolate don't mix. Like, because if you drink and sweet chocolate, that don't mix. So I'm letting him know right there, ain't nothing going on. Then another one, he was like almost a fan of mine, but I think I must have hurt his feelings because he was kept on interrupting my set, and then like, you got some money? It was a white guy, and I was like, you got money? Well, then we can't go nowhere, and
Not
so
nowhere.
that messed him up. No, first of all, you drunk. I don't drink, but everybody could drink. But I don't, I ain't going off with somebody who's in a drunk state of mind because you know what happens with things downstairs. That's drunk too. It ain't working right. That's rubber band man. You know what I mean? So I'm not even going there with that. Look. But hecklers could throw you off. Hecklers could throw you off. Yes, you try to not be too mean to them, but yet put them in their place. Like, you want to come up here and do this
Yeah.
show? That's what I ask some of them. You want to come up here
Yeah.
and I sit down? You know what I'm saying? Because I already got paid. You want to come up here and finish this? You can do that.
Feel
If
free.
not, shut the hell up and let me finish. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a heck. That's
Everybody
how
in the
you
crowd think they funny on stage.
go ahead. Go ahead, Naroma. I want to mute it when it's echoey. Go.
Oh, everybody in the crowd think they funny. Oh, I could do that. Well, get up here. Come on, shoot. So my nerves
Run
could
it up.
calm down. I could sit down and laugh. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yes.
They don't know till they get to that stage
Yeah, I love when
what it be
people think
like,
that
what
they
it
can
be
do
about. You got
comedy.
people looking in your face. They want to hear what they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
3 minutes is a long
They
time
want
to
to
hear
And
hear
one of
what
they
they want to
everybody
hear.
think they
So
funny.
I asked them, what you want me to talk about? Mainly, they always want to talk about sex.
Mm-hmm.
Sex. That's all they want to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Who doing who and
They,
how you do
they
it,
ain't
and
never
they
having
want a
enough.
sex lesson and all this. They even want sex after
They
the
came to the
show.
wrong
I was like,
show.
not with me. Look, I ain't
Wrong
come here for
show.
that. Yep. Yeah.
But that's the funny thing
Yes.
about it is that
I
everybody thinks
I
they
get them all.
comics until they get up on stage, and then you figure out that you're not a comedian. And that's where, like, when people even ask you when you're a comic, they always ask you, okay, well, tell me a joke. Like, no, bitch, I get paid for this. Like, I want to get paid for this. I don't want to do it for free with you. Like, I don't.
Dudes on dating apps love doing that.
Yes.
They're like, oh, how funny are you? Do you do impressions? Nigga, you.
Do I look like Marlon Wayans to you? Like, it just gets to the point where it's just like, y'all, you don't realize that this is a job. Yes, I'm doing something that you would consider to be creative or whatever the case may be, but I'm not about to come to your job and be like, bitch, do what you do on the spot. or you just
like, you just roll up on a doctor and be like, oh, what's this rash about? Like,
yeah, come on, fix this foot real quick. You know, but people do that. They take these leisures with comics because they expect that it's just kind of like a air by night type job, and they don't. It's gaining more respect over time, and I guess our more seasoned comics can speak to that. But I think it's more respectable to be a comic these days than it has in the past, because they've seen comics like Kevin Hart sell out stadiums, and they see all these other online comedians making money and coming out with Maseratis and all that other good shit. Mm-hmm. But it before it was kind of like, oh, you're a comic. Oh, okay. This is what you chose to do? Like, what happened? Did your life take a turn, or you didn't finish college? You didn't finish high school, I'm sure. But it's just like that type of environment that kind of caused it to be like people kind of use you because you're doing a service. Because anybody in the service industry, and I'm sure everybody on this podcast have worked service industry in some kind of way, and they treat you like shit. I was working at Panera for a few years, and that's where the uppity people go, to Panera, and they think they somebody because they spend an extra $3 on their meal. But it was the worst people in the wee hours of the morning. Like, bitch, you can't even, I don't even want to see you right now. It's 6:30 and you argue with me about bagels. Like, I'm not gonna do this with you. But that's the worst type of people, is in them service industries, and we're in a technical service industry as comedians. And people, it's like, make me laugh. Like, no, I'm not here to make you laugh. I'm here to tell a joke. Now, if you laugh, that's extra. Wonderful. You laughed. But I am here to do what I was supposed to do, and the time frame allowed it. So, laugh if you like. Either way, it's done.
You're going to get the joke.
I'm giving it to you. You can give it back. It's fine. I'm going to walk off soon anyway. I'll never see you again, or whatever. And that's what I love about Deion Cole's comedy, is where he bring out the notepad and he just like, look, niggas, I'm going to try out these jokes. If they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. I don't live here. Fuck it. Like, he just walked off the stage. But let's talk a little bit as we wind down, because it's been a dynamic conversation. But let's talk about, what do you believe is the future of comedy? I know that a lot of people have been kind of, especially old school comics, they sitting around and they waiting for the stage to open back up. And me, as an old school mentality comic, I'm in the middle of that road. Like, I would love to be on stage right now. I would love to be touring. I would love to have, that direct, in-person, face-to-face, non-COVID-like interaction with people right now, but we can't. So, but then there are environments where there are people like Tahir, who's been doing Zoom In with the Homies, and they have thousands of views, and they have people come on and they put up their cash apps and people send them money. You can reach such a wide range of people just like this. A bunch of people could see it and they could want to support and send you money, and it'd be a lot more than your one set that they give you $50 for in a box of chicken, or probably less than that, to do comedy. So there is an avenue. But what do you believe is the future? Will these clubs open back up? If they do, what is it going to look like for us? Because I, for one, bought my own goddamn mic. I'm not about to be fucking with these niggas. Like, I have my own mic. It charges to its own standard. It's wireless. I have mic condoms. You just put them right on top just in case my mic go out and I ain't charge it properly. I can put a mic condom on there. I got gloves and shit. But what is comedy looking like for the rest of us once this thing opens up? What do you guys think is going to be the future of comedy? Do you see more profit out of it? So go ahead, Queen, get us started.
Well, a lot of places that are doing comedy now all have like little mic condoms, sanitizer, all of that. They trying to keep it as sanitized as they possibly can. I think the future of it will it will definitely be predicated on how well you've done with social media for at least for that first year to 2 years. Like, I think the people want to see that you have the numbers behind you, and since a lot of people aren't out at these venues trying to see comedy, they're on their phone looking to see what you're doing, and if you're bringing in those views, that's what's really going to translate into you seeing more of the like mainstream success. I think that's what we're starting. We already started seeing it, but I think that's more of the progression of it. But in terms of like doing the open mics and all of that, I think it'll be a slow build to get that going again for a lot of people because of how I feel like, especially if you're new, how comfortable it's been to kind of be at home to do your comedy, like just in this space. It's an amazing way to kind of gauge it, and you also get more of the feedback from your peers that you would have not have necessarily gotten it at a show. You normally wouldn't have gotten it at a show. Granted, yeah, you try to, but depending on how inebriated everybody else is, you ain't gonna get some real cogent shit. Like
what she call it, the lip dick, the weak dick.
Rubber band man.
That's that rubber band advice.
Exactly. So like, I think the way that the open mic scenes is going to like jump off is going to be a lot different. It's definitely going to be predicated more so on what your social media has been bringing in.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's what I'm starting. That's what I'm starting to like. That's what I'm starting to see happen.
Yeah, it's like your currency. It's almost like your resume.
Yeah,
like, okay, hey, what's your name? How many people follow you?
And I made the point the other day, like on my Facebook. I was like, I wish I could have been a comedian in the 90s because I don't like this social media aspect. Like I would have
loved it. I would have made a killing.
It's a means to an end, and if I get to stay home and not have to wear pants, I'm cool with that too. Like,
yeah, I mean, once you're there, it's like you made it, and you got a following, and and I know that even on these turns, and I may not get a whole bunch of views, but I know what I'm doing is quality, and that's, I feel, eventually will pick itself up. And it really only takes one good show. Somebody click on this show. We could have done this weeks ago, and somebody find this, and they just got into comedy. They want to know what's the future of comedy, and they see this, they're like, "Oh my God, I need to share this." And overnight, you're like, and that's literally how I see it happening. It's like somebody gonna be texting me like, "Bitch, you blowing up!" Like, oh, which one? You know, so. Which video was it?
What material this time?
Exactly. Who saw me? But I just worry about that because now I'm worried about numbers. I'm worried about people caring about what I'm doing in a way that I didn't give a fuck about it before. Now I actually care about that type shit. And it annoys me because I'm confident enough to not need that. I've never needed people to follow me. I've never really cared about how many people were my friends. I had a good core. You know, I got my main team, the squad. And we've been friends since I was younger. And I got all these other friends because I'm in a sorority that I built up over time. I'm a cool person, I think. So I'm friendly. I know a lot of people. But just this social media shit, like, just getting there is the hard part. I think if I get an opportunity, say one of those people who really influencing and shit, have me on their show, people gonna love me. And they're gonna be like, "Oh, who is she? I want to know her." Blah, 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 blah. But before that, it's this. And just the uphill battle of building up and like, hey, come watch my show. And like Buck said, trying to edit these fucking videos to get them out so that people see that you actually done. It's so many things I got to edit that I've just been lazy about. Just being on, you know, doing shows and stuff like that aren't on my social media, but I'm still working. I'm doing things, but people don't know because I'm doing them live, you know, so... And I'm not going back and posting them. So, Buck, what do you have to say about the future? What do you think is going to happen post-COVID when we're able to open up? Do you think the clubs will open back up the same way?
I don't think they'll open up the same way. I think COVID is going to kind of change this for maybe 3, 4, 5 years, maybe even
Mhm.
10 years. The way we interact with, I think the way we used to interact is over in general, or it will change. It'll be different. It'll be different. Unfortunately, I have hope, but I have no expectation, only
Mhm.
because if it doesn't change, then we are going to have to work with what we have. You
True.
know what I mean? We're going to have to get better at these platforms. It's going to push a lot of old heads out of their comfort zone. If they want to work, they're going to have to do it this way. If it does open back up and it's great for all of you new bucks, you new heads, y'all, guess what? Y'all asses get on stage. You know what I mean? So,
Some
and
of
that's
them
what
that
you
do
want.
this can't do that.
You
They
know
can't get on
exactly.
stage.
Yeah.
But I hope it remains a happy blend of medium. I hope my hope is I hope we've learned from this experience and we will continue this communication, this networking, and this connection. I hope that continues.
Definitely.
Whatever
Definitely.
it's gonna be. But I'm willing to perform in people's backyard. Like I at this stage,
Oh, I've done it.
I let me know when the barbecue and the potatoes. Let me know something. Let
Hmm.
me
I
know
can bring the
something.
hand sanitizer. Like I don't.
Exactly. If it goes to,
Yeah.
we're going to probably see a lot of reduction in the size of audiences and maybe
Hmm.
ticket prices may be higher.
Mhm.
Bringer shows might cut out because you can't bring 12 people because the venue used to hold 60. Now they only hold 15.
Right.
So I don't have any expectation for the bullshit. I don't have any expectation for the bullshit. I just hope that we are still gonna remain networking and be vigilant on what we do right now. So that's what I hope. So
That's a good hope.
I want everybody to work. I want everybody to work. That's the hope. I want everybody to work. I want everybody to do something. But
Hmm.
like Veronique, like you said, Miss Naruma, like you said, Joseph, like you said, you know what? Shit's gonna be different. We're gonna have to do different things. Joseph's going to end up being a writer. Veronique, you're going to end up doing voiceovers. Visionary, you're going to end up having a comedy show. Me and Miss Naroma, we going to be doing
I received that.
the old head chitlin circuit. Miss Naroma, we going to get an RV and we going to drive cross country,
I
even if
love
we have to do
it.
it. Yeah, the Mon Pa
I
Road
will
show.
watch that
You
show.
know,
I will
you
watch
know
it.
what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
We might have to do something. So whatever it does, if it pushes us out of our boundaries, it's going to be what. But this needs to continue. This is my
Hmm.
hope. The expectation, it's going to be some fuckery and buffoonery. So it's going to be
Fair.
fuckery.
Fair.
I agree with that. It's gonna be fuckery for
It's
sure.
going to be fuckery.
Absolutely.
All right, Miss Sweet Chocolate. What do you think is the future?
Sweet chocolate. What do you think?
Yes, I'm like Buck. I already see that things have changed. Plus, I looked at the news and the doctor was saying maybe the end of 2021 or in 2022. So that's a couple of years more, especially
Yeah.
after these clowns are spreading it. Up there in the White House, they want to go all around talking about it don't exist and spreading it while people dying. I think it should be a law against them
Hmm.
even doing that. How is it they get a ticket to just murder people? Because that's straight murder. If you got a virus like that and you going all over the place with no mask on, but yet people in town get tickets for not having a mask.
Yeah.
So the crowds huffing and puffing on people and breathing on them in a comedy spot is not going to happen because if people like me, I don't want you coming near me sneezing and coughing when this thing ain't in check. And a lot of other people going to be paranoid about it or skeptical about it. So things have is going to change. And so if you notice, God has shown us our different creativities while this pandemic has been going on.
Absolutely.
So there's going to be
Absolutely.
writers, there's going to be actors. We can do that online, act things out like she do the voiceover. Veronique. Veronique, I love it. It's so unique. Look, and Visionary speaks. She speaks. Joseph, he does his thing, and like the writing and Buck, he's playing me and him. We gonna be the two Bucks, the long mile. Look, we gonna be on the road. We
Yeah.
might be the ones promoting them to taking them to the stages, being their producers or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
Oh
our
yeah.
things are gonna change because of this COVID, but it's gonna be like a level up type of thing.
I think so too.
It's gonna take what we already got and we're gonna level up to another level, but in a different manner. You know, the entertainers already see they got to do their shows. Look, virtual at home. They
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
ain't getting paid.
Yep.
They only getting a trophy. You know what I'm saying? Like I said,
yeah,
things are
yeah,
changing. The first will be last, and the last will be first. So all of us
Mm.
that they look down on, we going up. We leveling up. They got to come down.
Oh
You know what I'm saying? Things are
yes.
changing.
Level playing field.
what if Miss Naruma is right? What if the expectation is you are you guys? The expectation is you guys, but I have hope in that, and I have
Mm-hmm.
faith in that, and I will support that, you know,
That
any day. If I got to drive you to a show and sit there from the sideline, no, bitch, you saying it wrong. You know what I mean? I'll do that. You know what I
mentorship
mean?
is necessary for
Let's
us
just,
young people.
yeah, let's
You
write some.
know,
But mentorship goes both ways. If
it
you got to be like,
does.
hey, Buck, I didn't like that joke. Think about this, or
Yeah.
I'm open. I'm open to whatever. I will have faith in you all before I have faith in the buffoonery.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Bless your heart.
Yes. Joseph, what do you think the future of comedy is post the pandemic?
I definitely think it's going to be interesting for all of us to kind of because we lost trust, and we don't
Yeah.
nobody feels safe in the comedy clubs,
Yeah.
because of the virus, and so I think it's going to take a while for people to feel trust or
Mm-hmm.
build that trust and feel safe in comedy. Um, I think one of the positive things that's coming out of this, and I look forward to, is all the networking. I
Mm-hmm.
think like that was said. Um, I've met people in different countries that I never would have talked to.
See?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People in different states. I mean, it's interesting now to think that we all have these connections, in different states and different countries that we didn't have before.
So true.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I've done a set with all South African people who called themselves colored, and I didn't even know that. And it just through these and Mia, I think Mia and Veronique was on there with the British group. It's like
And the
we've been.
Irish.
And what I'm going to say is, I'm gonna fabricate the fuck out of this when I come out. My resume is gonna be, yes, darling, I've done shows in Europe and I've done shows in South Africa.
Because now you're an international comic.
Oh, I am an international booked and busy bitch. Okay,
Right,
so
right.
it's gonna be a lot of notoriety on here. This is my produced show. So I'm just gonna gas up my resume. Y'all not gonna catch me out here brand new. No, I've been doing this and doing it in multiple areas and different continents. So I think it's gonna be quite the show when we come out, because even with the comedy clubs, it's so fearful because to laugh is to spread the droplets. If you laugh audibly, it's to spread the droplets. But one thing that I'm noticing, and we'll leave it here, is that it's getting so creative in the way that we go about comedy. I've heard of comedy drive-ins, which
Yeah.
are so cool. I can't wait to do some. In Detroit, there is a cutoff of time of where I can be outside after a certain time. It's so cold in the D. But I would love to do a comedy drive-in where people can beep at you and laugh from their cars in the safety of their cars. There's been some a musical show I saw on the Daily Show where they put up just kind of like blockades to everybody had like a booth, and they did a stadium show with
Wow.
booths, and it was just sets of booths, so everybody walks to their booth and they can sit in their booth. That was probably an expensive ass booth, but
Probably.
at this stage, you don't know what you'll pay for this. How much do you want to pay for your freedom? Like I would pay quite a grip. Like I was already paying a lot for Beyonce tickets, but if I could leave my house right now safely, I would pay quite a grip. So I did cancel that trip, so I didn't go nowhere. So I will pay the money, honey. I got the stimulus. No, I spent the stimulus on a garage repair. But I am saving a lot more cash. So I'm willing to spend more. I think that that's going to be great. I think that we should take advantage of the social media world Like for the next shows, I think I'm going to start letting people put their cash up, not letting people, but having people put their cash up information up so you can get that cash app tips, baby.
That's a good idea.
It helps, you know. And when I did my podcast originally, I had my cash app information. And where's my little bottle? I always got my little, you know, because I'm a brand, baby. She's a brand, okay?
Yes.
So I keep my shit. And I got water bottles and stuff, so I'll probably put that up in the background once I get my she shed together. But there's a way that you can make more money than you've ever made on a night of comedy just here.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it in other people's shows where they've come in and they've made $100 just being on a show, talking like we're talking right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's a way to monetize this. Look at the versus battles. I think that they can do versus comedy, where they can take, I think that they should do it like boxing, where they take a rookie and do two rookies against each other. And then I think that they can do the intermittent. So that would be Buck and Miss Naroma. You know, get them go and battle. And then you'll have like a Kevin Hart and a Bill Burr or somebody at the top where they can, you know, battle it out freely. And people pay to see that. I would have paid $5, maybe even $20 to see Teddy Riley buffer his screen for 10 minutes on that versus battle. I was so excited just to see him buffer and to turn around in that tracksuit and tell those people no. Like, I was just here for the show. Okay, I would have paid for that. And he would have made millions. Just in that $5 that I would have been like, tip this man for the tracksuit. They would have made millions of dollars. And it's a way that we can monetize comedy in the same way.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping that we'll be able to do that. But one thing that I want is, people talk a lot about bringing up newer comics like myself and like Veronique and like Joseph, but they don't. Like, I've reached out to some people who have talked that talk and I know they read my message, but they didn't respond.
Sorry.
You know, it's like, no, Buck responds just 3 days later. It's 3 days. But it's like they read the message and they talk about bringing up new people, but then they'll look at your page and say, oh, it's not worth it. They're not having that many followers. You know why I don't have many followers? Because you won't let me get up. You know, so I think it's just a way of that pulling up. And I've seen new comics like us create their own spaces. So they're not waiting on the business owner anymore to do comedy. They're not waiting on the butt fuck of bringer shows, you know, to do comedy. They're saying, I can do this. I saw Keep Your Distance Comedy, where they do their own show in a parking lot, and they have people come, like maybe 15 people, but they'll air it live and charge people to come to the show online. So there is some innovation happening that I'm really excited to be a part of. Social media still sucks ass and I can't stand it, but I think there's a way for us to make money off of this, and it takes environments. Like, I know that I'm going to be great and I know that I'm going to make it one day, but I'm going to remember that I was here with Buck and I was here with Veronique and I was here with Joseph and I was here with Naroma, because if we start our own community, we don't have to wait for these white people to pay us. We can just start making our own shit and start producing our own shows and start supporting ourselves. So that's where I hope the future of comedy goes, is that we see something in people, and not just based off their numbers, but based off their character, and say, hey, I'm willing to take a chance on you and bring you in, because that's how a lot of people got started. It's just somebody seeing something in them and saying, I'm going to give you the chance, you know, to make it. So I'm hoping that we'll all be a part of that movement of, when we do make it, because we will, one of us on this platform is gonna make it. Like, if not 2, 3, 4, all 3 of y'all, 5, 6. One of us is gonna make it, and if we just continue to bring each other with us, you know, and continue to reach back. It's nothing wrong with reaching back and bringing somebody up with you. It's so many people that don't know how to reach their arm back and bring somebody else up. It don't matter where they are. They can be where they potentially can go. You don't have to wait for them to get there to say, oh, I know you got about 5,000 followers or 1,500 followers or 50,000, 6,000 followers. Now you're enough. You're enough to be with me. Like, no, bring me up when I got 150 or however many I got right now. Do it now. Get on me now.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to remember when I do, because I will make it, I'm going to remember that you slept on me then. You wouldn't answer my DMs when I only had 150 people. And that's why I love it, because, and especially with us new comics, a lot of people are like, oh, you're doing comedy now? Okay. But it's just like, I posted this one day, I said, it's going to be interesting to see when a lot of people are surprised by the fact that I made it. Or even surprised that I'm doing comedy. I'm like, it's going to be a surprise to a lot of you. But I don't want to hear from you when I'm already there if you weren't with me on the road up. I don't want to hear from you. You know, don't DM me when I made it. You know, DM me when I'm shooting in the gym and I ain't got nothing but 200 followers and you was one of the 200. I'm going to ride for you. You know, I'm going to rock with you.
One of my favorite quotes is from Oprah. She said, everybody wants to ride with you in the limo once you made it, but what you want is somebody who's going to ride with you on the bus when the limo breaks down.
I'll help you push that bitch. You know, that's the real. But we have been having a dynamic conversation. I love these podcasts. I love these moments just to connect with each other and fellowship, because that's all this is. It's just fellowshipping with fellow-minded people, like-minded people who really want to see good things happening in this industry. And it will. It's just we have to all be a united front against the bullshit, as Buck calls it. You know, we have to be a united front. So we're going to leave it off at that. I want everybody, we'll start with Buck, and then we'll go in order of the squares and tell the people where they can find you and just give your final thoughts on today's topic. Go ahead, Buck.
Okay, everybody. You know, this has been a wonderful time. Thank you so much, guys. It was a pleasure to be on here with all of you guys. You can find me on Instagram at Bucks Comedy. It's right there in the name. Also on Facebook, my YouTube, them videos on there are old, but Sybil Vision or Paul Buck Gittins, and it's BUC, not BUCK. My final thought on everything that's happening. This is wonderful. This is not in my comfort zone. It doesn't seem like it's not, but this is not in my comfort zone. I told you my issues with social media and whatnot. And I just think this is great. You all are dynamic and fantastic young people and great comedians. And I'm just so eager to see what happens with your careers. And you know what, if I'm not around to help push that bus, just call me and I'll be roadside assistance. I'll come get you. All right, I'll come get you. That's all I got to say.
Or
Thank you so much
for
the
Uber.
Me. Yeah, I'll send an Uber. Thank you so much for having me, though.
Thank you, Buck. That is great. We all need somebody who will fund this project. or he has a travel agency business that he did not promote.
Yes, you can
go ahead, do that.
You can go also to my page, Bucktown Travel. I am a travel business owner. If you have any questions about that, I can give you some more information. Hit me in my DM if you want to start your own little business. I got about 4 different hustles. It's a turnkey business, 2 businesses in one, and I can tell you all about it. And if you guys are traveling, when we start traveling, even if it's booking
they out
a cabin,
here already.
Booking a cabin, a rental car, whatever, hit me a little something in my DMs. I'll take good care of you. Thank you for that. Okay. Reminding me of my business.
Yes.
I'm not good at it.
Know your worth. Know your worth. That's good. Yeah, because when I start getting out here, we're going to have to do a family reunion in a cabin or some shit like that.
Absolutely.
Everybody can come out, but some black people don't believe it's real, so you got to leave them alone. Or they believe if we family, you can't catch it from family.
Very true.
My uncle said that. I was like, Uncle, you a little too close. He was like, baby, we family. They don't work on that. I'm like, what? Girl, what is this fake news? Anyway, Queen Veronique, go ahead, tell the people where they can find you.
Hi, so you can find me on IG and YouTube as Veronique the Comedian, and now Facebook. Facebook has finally decided to work with me.
Yes.
So now I can finally, get that page up and running and all that good stuff. So y'all can follow me there for the comedy. But if you want to get in touch with me for the voiceover work, you can follow me at Visionary Trend.
Yes, Visionary.
I've had the name for like 10 years. I've had that name for 10
We
years.
are visionaries. It is what it is.
So for the voiceover piece, head over there. I'll be putting stuff up there within the next month. So
Amazing.
but if you want to book me,
huh.
Veronique at visionarytrend.com.
Book her today. Do it now. Call her now.
Call me now.
All right, Queen. Down there dying. Queen, go ahead, sweet chocolate. Tell the people where they can find you.
Queen, go ahead, chocolate. Tell the people where they can find you.
Oh, you my girl, you know it. I love you. And I enjoyed the energy in this virtual room. I love it. No buffoonery going on. I love it. And visionary, know what I mean.
Yes,
And
girl.
y'all can find me in Albany, New York or Brooklyn. Nah, Nyroma Johnson on Facebook, Instagram at Nyroma Johnson. I don't do all that other stuff. You know, my ADHD. I can't do all these social media things. YouTube. I have videos on YouTube, Sweet Chocolate, Church Comedy, different things. You can check me out with that. But I love this, and I can't wait until the time we all get together, like in person, and put something together that we can do. Like this is what people are doing now. You know what I mean? So when the time is right. This year I ain't traveling nowhere. I'm not even going down to Brooklyn. I told my daughter that. And you can catch it from your family because I went in November of last year. I slept in the bed with my daughter. She was hooping and coughing. I got back home. I was sick as a dog. I had to take antibiotics. I said that was that COVID. So this year I'm not traveling down there. She's like, when you coming? I said 2021. So I enjoyed. I wish you all many blessings. You all have gifts, and it's gonna be all right. I already see big things in your future, and thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you, Queen. It's always a pleasure to be in your midst, in your vibe, in your essence. We appreciate you being in the room because you bring so much, and your vibe sets the tone always. So I appreciate you being here. Joseph, you gonna bring us home. Last thoughts where the people can find you. Go ahead.
So I'm on Instagram and Twitter at yoga177. Just that. That's my handle. I'm so new. I'm not used to plugs.
I mean, you gotta learn how to get the branding. You gotta plug it. What does the yoga mean? Like, do you do yoga?
I actually don't. It was.
Damn it! False advertisement. Thought I was gonna get a yoga class out your head.
I was super nerdy in middle school, nerdier than I am now. Me and some friends were trying to sign up for this medieval multiplayer computer game. And I had to create an email, and I kept trying everything. I threw everything at that I could possibly try, but everything was taken. So I said,
except for yoga.
I was 12 years old, and I typed yoga, and that was the only thing that wasn't taken, and it added those numbers, and I was like, you know what? I'll just keep that.
Well, we gonna have to get your branding together. We gonna work on you like the Lord. We just gonna keep at it because we gotta get something. Joseph Robinson is a brand. You gotta get it together. We trying to be famous out here. Jesus, can't do it if we just got yoga 1172334. So I appreciate everybody. Thank you all. We had quite a few people come in, tune out. We're gonna have a lot of people watch after. Continue to support Black business. Continue to support out of work comedians. Because technically we are all out of work in the world of comedians, except for those who are willing to take these street chances. So just continue to support us and be out here and just continue to laugh, people. The world is hard, but it's still funny. There's so many things to laugh about, clearly. And we just need to continue to not be sensitive and just laugh at stuff because it's funny. That's pretty much it. And love each other and vote. God damn it, vote. You know?
Oh, God damn it.
Vote, goddammit! The damn kids.
Right.
Get your ass out and vote. It'd be the main ones in the millennial section that's just sitting their ass down. Get your ass up.
Did you
and
guys
vote.
see that the voting day is going to be an actual holiday, and state and federal buildings are going to be closed,
Yes.
and schools are going to be closed so people can vote?
Because she's off. She's off for work. So I'm glad.
But I'm glad.
I had forgotten that I was off. She was like, next week's going to be a short week. I was like, why? She was like, because we have off for the voting and the election. And I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, okay. That's great. So I'm glad I already voted his ass out on my part, so I did my work. I have mailed that bitch in 2 weeks ago. I do have to check and see if it was received, because apparently mail is on some bullshit right now. But I did do my part. So continue to do your part and vote this dude out so that we can, get to the Civil War. Okay? That's all I'm doing. Let's just get to the next chapter, because we know it's coming.
Who got the blickies?
I just need everybody to get the blickies and the stickies so that we can move on to the next chapter of our lives in The Walking Dead. So, thank you all for tuning in. I am Comedian Visionary Speaks. You can find me on all platforms. Comedian Visionary Speaks, spelled all the English way. No Z's, no P's, no extra shit that wouldn't make sense in a word. So just find me there and just support me, because I'm going to remember that you did that. Maybe. All right, love you guys.
Remember if you don't. We remember if you don't.
I'll know if you're not a part of the 158 people on my page right now. So have a good night. We appreciate y'all. Peace out, and we're out. Hey, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it.